Blood pressure. Please like, subscribe and comment. Thanks. Definition. The pressure exerted by blood upon the walls of the arteries, depending upon the force of the heartbeat, the elasticity of the vessel walls, the resistance of the capillary network, and the volume and viscosity of the blood. Blood pressure shows the contractile powers of the heart and resistance of the blood vessels. The blood pressure increases every 2 years about 1 degree. The normal blood pressure is approximately 125, and at 60 it is 140. Persons who are weak physically have a slightly lower pressure. Those who exercise have higher blood pressure. The old accepted routine of taking the blood pressure count has been 100 systolic plus the age, wherein a person of 30 years, it was felt, should have a normal blood pressure of 130 and a person of 40 a blood pressure of 140, etc. But this is very erroneous because at any age heavy meat eaters will have a higher blood pressure than vegetarians. There is actually no hard and fast rule on blood pressure. Symptoms. Excessive pressure is exerted on the valves and the pumping muscles of the heart. A pressure is also exerted on the functioning lifelines in the body, the arteries, the capillaries, etc. This condition is characterized by a red or flushed complexion, excess weight, discomfort, and sometimes skin pallor. High blood pressure is the result of improper living habits which cause a rundown condition in the body. Cause high blood pressure. There is a thickening of the blood from catarrhal and excess glutinous and fibrinous matters loading the circulatory system. Generally, there is a clogging of the bowel with putrid body waste, making it necessary to cleanse the excretory systems in order to purify the blood. Low blood and high blood pressure are both due to malfunction of the circulatory system. High blood pressure in many cases works just like low blood pressure. Cholesterol must be eliminated from the system in order to get the blood flowing more freely. The condition is brought about by improper diet, insufficient rest and exercise, and a lack of vitality within the system. Herbal aids, high blood pressure. With high blood pressure, cholesterol and mucus form a sludge within the body. Avoid the mucus-forming foods and take herbs that act as a solvent by liquefying impurities such as cayenne, garlic or sassafras. Take cayenne, working up to a teaspoon 3 times a day. This increases the power of the heart and corrects the circulation problems. Garlic in copious amounts will bring down high blood pressure. Pure tomato juice is very good as a nutritional and a medicinal herb. Wheat germ oil is excellent for feeding the heart and helps cut the cholesterol and smoothens its removal from the area. Avoid the use of liquor and tobacco. Do not keep late hours and avoid overtiredness and worry. There is an intricate interrelationship between one's living habits and their body condition. Low blood pressure. More oxygen is needed to correct this condition. Garlic is a good oxygen carrier. One of the greatest aids for low or high blood pressure because of oxygen starvation is deep breathing, which serves as a catalyst and helps the herbs react more rapidly. An immediate increase in circulation may be obtained by the use of cayenne and non-mucus-forming foods. Grape juice, as well as other juices, rebuild and give endurance to the system. Shock. Cayenne should be taken internally to equalize the blood pressure and ensure that the internal functions will remain stabilized during the intense systemic distress. Dr. Shook's high blood pressure formula, hardening of the arteries, etc. See formula using sassafras, European goldenrod, buckbean, black cohosh, poke root, Indian senna, buckthorn and cassia bark. Dr. Shook's high blood pressure compound. See formula using valerian root, licorice root, buckthorn, speedwell, linden flowers, rue and goldenrod. Blood circulation formula. Dr. Christopher's blood circulation combination. This formula feeds calcium and ginger into the circulatory system, the cayenne working from the bloodstream to the heart and arteries, out into the veins. The other herbs included are to cleanse, heal, and give natural elasticity to the venous structure. It is a group of herbs working together to equalize the blood pressure, whether high or low, and to bring it to a good systolic over the diastolic reading. Blood flow is life itself. This combination contains ginger, cayenne, golden seal, ginseng, parsley, garlic, vitamin K. The blood-clotting properties of vitamin K, it has been found effective in preventing and curing high blood pressure in test animals and may turn out to be important for the same use in humans. It is important that in the plant kingdom, only alfalfa contains a significant amount of vitamin K. Most plants are quite deficient in the vitamin. Kelp. It is an arterial cleansing agent and gives tone to the walls of the blood vessels. It is helpful in some cases of arterial tension, high blood pressure. Practitioners believe that it helps to remove deposits from the walls of the arteries and restore their elasticity, thereby lengthening life. Sufferers from low blood pressure can also have this condition normalized with the use of kelp. Shepherd's purse. Acts to constrict the blood vessels and thus can raise blood pressure, but it has also been said to regularize blood pressure and heart action, whether the pressure is too high or too low. Valerian. The herb has a beneficial effect on the heart and on blood pressure. One man felt jittery and woozy taking his blood pressure medicine and asked an herbal practitioner for something to help him. He didn't say that he was going to stop taking his medicine, but a few weeks later, he said that he had been to his doctor and that his blood pressure was down to normal. He didn't have the nerve to tell the doctor that he had stopped taking the medicine and was drinking a tea composed mostly of valerian and hawthorn. Hawthorn berries, a celebrated cardiac tonic for many centuries. Under conditions of stress, the heart often works overtime. Hawthorn berries can help in treatment of high or low blood pressure, tachycardia, and arrhythmia. It is also antispasmodic, sedative, and soothing to nerves, especially in nervous insomnia. Garlic. Many people have been helped in ridding the body of worms by inserting a peeled button of garlic as high as possible into the rectum. Do this just before retiring at night, and it will come out with the first bowel movement in the morning. This is also a fine aid in adjusting high blood pressure and low blood pressure. Water. It is very beneficial to drink a gallon of steam distilled water each day. This will aid to cut down the hardening of the arteries, adjust high and low blood pressure, and retard body dehydration. The amount of water depends on the weight of the individual. Use 1 ounce of steam distilled water to each pound of body weight. For example, a 130-pound individual should drink a gallon of the water, which is 132 ounces. Or a 20-pound child should drink 20 ounces of the water. Juices for high blood pressure include celery, garlic, parsley, celery, dandelion, and grapefruit. On the other hand, juices for low blood pressure are beet grape and pomegranate. It's important to note that excessive amounts of ephedra should not be used by those with high blood pressure. However, the small amounts found in Dr. Christopher's formulas will have no adverse effects. Ephedra is great for those suffering from low blood pressure. When it comes to vegetables for blood pressure, the green bell-shaped pepper is especially good for high blood pressure and acidosis. Sweet potatoes are used for problems of low blood pressure and poor circulation. Peaches are considered valuable in cases of high blood pressure. Pineapple is also good for high blood pressure. Strawberries are recommended for high blood pressure, and ample consumption of tomatoes is considered to improve high blood pressure. Pecans have been used where there is a problem with low blood pressure. Piñon nuts have saved the life of many an Indian baby when made into a nut soup and used as milk for the baby when the mother had no milk. The nut is considered effective for issues like tuberculosis, impotence, paralysis, low blood pressure, and emaciation. The piñon nut is one of the best sources of protein in the nut family. Dr. Christopher tells the story. I travelled with a man younger than myself several years ago, all over the western part of the United States on business. He marvelled at the stamina that an older man could have on long drives without displaying the usual fatigue. Each morning I would get up and have my cayenne and my wheat germ oil. Finally he got curious and said, "What's that stuff?" So I gave him an illustrative lecture and he responded, "Well, I have hemorrhoids, my mother died of high blood pressure, and I have high blood pressure, and with the hemorrhoids I have to wear a belt, as you probably noticed, to keep my hemorrhoids up in place. Do you think that will help?" "Not unless you take it," I replied. "Well, I will start taking it." Then I added, "I don't think you're man enough. I don't think you are brave enough." And I turned and walked away. Now, he was well proportioned and a weightlifter, so after I left, he went over and got into my car and started using the cayenne along with the wheat germ oil. And by spring, he did not have to wear a belt any longer as his hemorrhoids were cleared. Then he had an amazing surprise when he went to his doctor for a regular checkup. The doctor took his blood pressure 3 or 4 times and said, "This is supposed to be progressively worse. I don't know what has happened. Your systolic and diastolic are near perfect. You don't need to come back any longer. I don't know what happened." Well, he did not have to go back. And today this gentleman who lives in the Salt Lake City area has no high blood pressure, for he kept on taking his cayenne. Dr. Christopher's own story. Because of my own experiences, I must tell you that I am a firm believer in the use of cayenne for the circulatory system. I suffered ill health in my youth, and from my middle 20s to the middle 30s, it was impossible for me to purchase life insurance, even a $1,000 policy. This was due in part to the hardening of the arteries and a disposition to high blood pressure which I suffered from. During my middle 40s, I tried again for a substantially large policy of life insurance. Because of the amount of the insurance I had requested, I was required to see 2 different doctors, each of whom gave me an examination. After one examination, the doctor exclaimed that he was astounded at my blood pressure, which resembled that of a healthy teenager, though I was 45 years old. The second doctor measured my blood pressure 5 times, in each instance shaking his head and repeatedly scrutinizing my case history chart. I was becoming irritated and asked him if his equipment was broken, seeing that he had repeated the reading over and over. He told me that the equipment had been used without trouble for some time. But since my age was 45, and I had a perfect systolic over diastolic pressure, he had to wonder if the reading was correct. I assured him that it was and related what the other doctor had said. I got an okay for the policy from both practitioners. Last year, as I neared 70 years of age, I told this story to a class I was instructing. One of the pre-medicine students asked if my blood pressure was still as good as it had been then, so I gave him permission to take my blood pressure. Amazingly, the group saw the blood pressure reading of a healthy young man and not the average reading of a 70-year-old individual. This was very gratifying to me, to say the least. The main reason for this good blood pressure of mine, besides my close adherence to the mucusless diet, was the use of cayenne as a food each day. I take 1 to 3 teaspoons or more of cayenne every day of my life, and the resulting healthy blood pressure is what I call a good payoff for a total effort. Dr. Christopher's hawthorn berry syrup has been doing us so much good. It's difficult to find adequate thank you expressions for you. In addition to help for heart problems, it has also been stabilizing a high blood pressure problem of long standing, which is really worthy of praise. We take it only twice a day, but perhaps if it was taken 3 times, it would bring the blood pressure to normal. At least we are not using the drug prescription for some time now. Dr. Christopher's program for blood pressure and circulation includes specific recommendations. For the blood circulation formula, take 2 to 3 capsules between meals. The blood circulation extract should be taken as 15 drops between meals. Hawthorn berry syrup is recommended at 1/2 teaspoon 3 times a day. Single herbs useful in this program include cayenne, hawthorn berries, alfalfa, garlic, Siberian ginseng and parsley. For diet, follow Dr. John R. Christopher's mucusless diet and 3-day cleansing program. Drink carrot, beet and apple juice, and also drink Jurassic Green. For further information, see Dr. John Christopher's ailments and treatments, cayenne blood circulation formula, hawthorn berry heart syrup, cholesterol, heart, cold season immune, Jurassic Green, Dr. Christopher's mucusless diet, and Dr. Christopher's 3-day cleansing program. Garlic man's best friend in a toxic world.